Welcome to Dive Zone, your space to go deeper into English, one episode at a time. If you're enjoying the journey, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a deep dive into language learning.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to English with Sam and Lily, and today's episode is something that can genuinely change your life if you let it. We're talking about the power of positive thinking.
That's right. This topic is one that's close to our hearts. Positive thinking isn't just about being cheerful all the time. It's about shifting your mindset to approach life with more resilience, hope, and clarity.
Exactly. So in today's episode, this is part 1, we're going to lay the foundation. We'll explore what positive thinking really is, why it's powerful, and how it affects our mindset, our language, and our everyday actions.
Let's start by clarifying what positive thinking actually is. A lot of people think it's just about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. But that's not it.
No, not at all. Positive thinking is more about focusing on solutions instead of problems. It's the habit of believing that no matter what happens, you can handle it or grow from it.
Right. It's being aware of negative thoughts, but choosing not to let them control your actions. For example, instead of saying, "I'm terrible at English," a positive thinker would say, "I'm still learning, but I'm getting better every day."
That small shift in language makes a huge difference. The words we use in our heads affect our emotions and our behavior. That's why positive thinking often starts with changing our self-talk.
Now, this isn't just motivational talk. There's real science behind this. Psychologists like Martin Seligman, who pioneered positive psychology, have done studies showing how optimism helps people bounce back from challenges faster.
Positive thinking has also been linked to better physical health. There's research suggesting that people with a positive outlook have lower risks of heart disease, better immune systems, and even longer lifespans.
And when it comes to learning, like learning English, it helps reduce stress and boost memory. When your mind isn't clouded by negativity, you're more open to absorbing new information.
Exactly. A stressed brain is in survival mode. A positive mind is in learning mode.
Let's talk about the opposite of positive thinking, negative thinking. It's sneaky. Sometimes it shows up in the form of sarcasm, overthinking, or even perfectionism.
Yeah, or catastrophizing, assuming the worst will happen. Like when you say, "If I speak English, I'll embarrass myself," so you just never try.
That's a common one. Or filtering, where you focus only on the negative part of something. Like if you got 18 answers right and 2 wrong, and all you think about is those 2.
Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring the 2 wrong answers. It means seeing them as part of the process. You go, "I got 18 right, and I know where I can improve."
Let's bring this to learning English, since a lot of our listeners are doing that right now. Positive thinking can transform your language journey.
Absolutely. If you believe you can't speak English, you're not going to try. But if you believe it's possible, you'll keep showing up, keep speaking, even if you make mistakes.
And mistakes are essential. Positive thinkers don't see them as failures. They see them as feedback.
Exactly. That mindset makes all the difference. One person might quit after one failed conversation, another might laugh, learn, and try again. Guess who becomes fluent?
The one who keeps going, with a positive attitude.
So how do we actually become more positive thinkers? It's not magic. It's a practice. Here are some daily habits you can start using.
First one, gratitude. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day, even if they're small.
Second, positive affirmations. Say things like, "I'm improving," "I am capable," or "Today I'll do my best." Say them out loud. They work better that way.
Third, question your thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, pause and ask, "Is this true?" Or, "Is there another way to look at this?"
And fourth, surround yourself with positive content. Podcasts, books, people. Positivity is contagious.
Let's share a few examples. I had a student once who was afraid to speak English because she thought her accent was too strong. But she started telling herself, "My accent shows my story." She kept practicing and became so confident that now she teaches English herself.
That's amazing. I knew a guy who failed his TOEFL exam twice. He almost gave up, but instead he chose to believe that failure was preparing him. On his third try, he passed with a high score.
And those aren't rare stories. They're what happen when you combine effort with the belief that things will get better.
Let's talk about the inner critic. We all have one. That voice that says, "You're not good enough."
Yes. And most of the time, that voice is not even true. It's based on fear, not facts.
A great exercise is to give that voice a name, maybe Negative Nancy or Doubtful Dan. That way, when you hear it, you can say, "Thanks, Nancy, but I'm going to keep going anyway."
And replace that voice with kindness. Talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. If your friend said, "I made a mistake," you wouldn't say, "You're an idiot." You'd say, "It's okay. Try again."
Self-kindness is the root of positive thinking. Without it, positivity becomes fake. With it, it becomes powerful.
So here's something for our listeners. Think of one situation in your life where you've been thinking negatively, maybe about your English, your job, or a relationship.
Then, write down what your inner voice says about it, and rewrite it as a positive thought. Like, "I'm behind" becomes, "I'm moving at my own pace."
Or, "I'll never speak fluently" becomes, "I'm on my way to fluency."
Do that every day, even once a day, and over time, you'll start seeing the world and yourself differently.
That's the end of part 1. In the next part, we'll go deeper. We'll explore how positivity affects your relationships, your habits, and how to stay positive even when life gets hard.
Remember, positive thinking isn't about ignoring problems. It's about believing that you have the strength to overcome them. And you do.
Absolutely. We'll see you in part 2. Keep thinking positively.
Bye for now.
Welcome back to part 2 of our podcast, The Power of Positive Thinking. If you haven't listened to part 1, make sure to check it out first, because today we're building on everything we talked about before.
Yep. Before, we defined positive thinking, talked about the science behind it, how it impacts learning English, and how to practice it daily. In this episode, we're going even deeper into relationships, failure, and how to stay positive when life gets difficult.
Let's start with relationships. Whether it's with friends, family, coworkers, or even strangers, your mindset plays a huge role in how those connections feel.
Totally. People who practice positive thinking are often easier to be around. They listen more, they judge less, and they don't constantly complain or drain your energy.
And it's not about being fake or pretending everything's great. It's about showing up with a hopeful attitude and giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Let's take an example. Imagine someone you know hasn't replied to your message in 2 days. A negative thinker might go, "They're ignoring me. They don't care about me." But a positive thinker might say, "Maybe they're busy. I'll wait and reach out again later."
Exactly. That one simple shift prevents so much unnecessary conflict.
Now let's talk about conflict. Positive thinking doesn't mean you avoid conflict. It means you handle it in a healthier way.
Yes. Instead of attacking the person, you stay calm and focus on the solution. You use I statements instead of you statements. Like, "I feel hurt when I'm not included," instead of, "You always leave me out."
Positive thinkers tend to assume positive intent. They believe that most people are not trying to hurt them. They're just being human.
And honestly, that makes a huge difference in how safe and strong your relationships become.
This next part is a big one. Failure. It's easy to be positive when everything's going well. But what about when you fail?
That's when your mindset really gets tested. Failure is part of life, part of learning, and part of growth. Positive thinking doesn't deny the pain. It just doesn't let the pain define the story.
I once failed a big interview for a job I really wanted. My first reaction was embarrassment and doubt. But then I reframed it. I told myself, "This isn't the end. It's feedback. Maybe something better is coming."
And guess what? 2 months later, you landed a better job.
Exactly. That's not a coincidence. That's the power of choosing to believe that failure is temporary.
One of my students told me, "I failed my speaking test, but I realized I've improved so much just by preparing for it. So it's not really a failure." That mindset is gold.
You know, when we talk about mindset, some people think it's fixed. But the truth is, you can rewire your brain to think more positively.
It's called neuroplasticity. Your brain forms habits based on repeated thoughts. So if you constantly think, I'm a failure, your brain will believe it and look for proof. But if you start saying, I'm improving, or I can learn from this, your brain starts looking for evidence of growth, and over time, that becomes your default setting.
A practical tip: write down one win every day, even if it's tiny, like I spoke English for 5 minutes, or I stayed calm during a tough conversation.
Small wins compound into a big mindset shift. Now let's talk about something important: your environment. The people around you affect your thinking. A lot.
If you're surrounded by complainers, pessimists, or people who discourage your goals, it becomes harder to stay positive, even if you try.
But when you're around people who uplift you, who focus on solutions, and who believe in progress, it changes your energy completely.
That's why it's important to protect your space. Follow people online who inspire you, talk to friends who encourage you, and if needed, limit your time with those who drain you.
Your environment either supports your growth or slows it down. Choose it wisely.
We mentioned this briefly in part 1, but let's go deeper. Positive thinking affects your body, not just your mind.
People who think positively tend to have lower stress levels. They sleep better. They recover from illness faster.
And it makes sense. When your brain believes you're safe and hopeful, your body relaxes. But when your brain is filled with fear or negativity, your body stays in fight or flight mode.
And long-term stress leads to so many health issues: heart problems, fatigue, even memory loss.
So positive thinking isn't just good for your mindset, it's part of a healthy lifestyle.
Let's give our listeners a sample routine they can try to make positive thinking a daily habit.
Sure, here's one idea. Morning. Start with 3 affirmations. Today is a fresh start. I'm capable. I'll learn something new. Midday. Take a 5-minute gratitude break. Write or say what's going well. Evening. Reflect on one challenge and how you handled it. Focus on what you learned or did right.
You can also create a positivity journal. Just write one positive thing per day. Over time, it becomes proof that you're growing.
And even when life feels tough, looking back at that journal reminds you that you've made it through hard things before.
Let's be real. Sometimes trying to be positive feels fake. Like, I'm supposed to smile and be happy when everything is falling apart?
Totally. That's where toxic positivity comes in, when people deny real pain or pretend everything is fine when it's not.
But true positive thinking doesn't ignore pain. It acknowledges it and still chooses hope.
You can say, this is hard, but I believe I'll get through it. That's authentic. That's strength.
You're allowed to cry and still believe in better days. Both can exist.
Another powerful tool is visualization. Olympic athletes use it. Entrepreneurs use it. And you can use it too.
Visualization means imagining yourself succeeding before it happens. Like picturing yourself speaking English confidently, passing your test, or handling stress calmly.
Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you visualize success, your brain starts believing it's possible.
And belief leads to action. Action leads to results. It's a beautiful cycle.
So to wrap up part 2, positive thinking is not just about attitude. It's a life skill. It changes how you see failure, relationships, stress, and even your health.
And it's something you can build. One habit, one thought, one choice at a time.
If there's one thing you remember from this episode, let it be this. Your thoughts are powerful. They can create fear or they can create freedom. Choose wisely.
And remember, you're not alone. We're growing right alongside you. We'll be back in part 3 with even more insights, practical tools, and deep dives into how positivity impacts your purpose, goals, and long-term happiness.
Until then, keep your head up. You're doing better than you think.
See you in the next part. Welcome back to part 3 of The Power of Positive Thinking. In the last episode, we went deeper into how your mindset affects relationships, failure, your physical health, and your environment.
We're going to explore how positive thinking connects to your purpose, long-term goals, motivation, and how to deal with setbacks without losing that spark of hope.
Let's begin with purpose. So many people go through life feeling like they're just surviving. Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat.
And when you don't feel connected to something bigger than your daily routine, life can feel empty. But here's the thing. Positive thinking helps you start believing that your life can have meaning.
Exactly. If you don't believe it's possible to live a purposeful life, you won't even try. But when you develop a positive mindset, your vision expands. You start asking bigger questions like, what do I want to contribute to the world? Or, what makes me feel alive?
It doesn't have to be a big mission like changing the world. It could be as simple as helping one person feel seen. That's purpose too.
Now let's talk about long-term goals. Learning a language, building a business, becoming healthier, these things take time.
And during that time, your brain will face doubt, distractions, and obstacles. That's where positive thinking becomes your anchor.
Say you've been learning English for 8 months, but still make mistakes. A negative thinker might say, I'll never be fluent. But a positive thinker says, look how far I've come. I'm still improving.
Progress is often invisible until it becomes obvious. And staying positive helps you trust the process.
A lot of dreams die because of fear. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if it doesn't work?
But here's the mindset shift. What if it does work? What if you succeed? What if your life becomes better than you imagined?
Positive thinking dares to ask those questions. It gives you permission to believe in the best case instead of the worst.
Fear focuses on risk. Positivity focuses on potential.
Let's talk about motivation. Where does it come from? And how does positive thinking feed it?
Motivation isn't magic. It often comes after action, not before. But your thoughts are the spark that leads to action.
If you wake up and think, today might be a good day, you're more likely to start doing something useful. Studying, working, exercising.
That action gives you a small result, like finishing a task. That result boosts your confidence. And guess what? Confidence feeds more motivation.
It becomes a loop. Thought, action, progress, belief, more action.
Positive thinking keeps that loop running. Negative thinking breaks it before it even starts.
But we also need to be honest. There are days when life gets so hard that being positive feels impossible.
True. Maybe you've lost someone, failed badly, or just feel stuck in a dark place. That's real. That's not something you can fix by just thinking happy thoughts.
On those days, positive thinking isn't about joy. It's about hope. It's telling yourself, this moment won't last forever. I've survived before. I'll survive this.
Even a small positive belief like, I'm going to take it one step at a time can help you move forward.
And if all you can do today is get out of bed and breathe, that's enough. That's strength.
Self-talk is one of the most important tools we have. It's the voice inside your head that's always speaking, even when you don't notice.
If your self-talk is full of criticism, doubt, or fear, it affects everything you do. But when it's full of compassion, encouragement, and resilience, you start treating yourself like a friend instead of an enemy.
One trick I use is to ask, would I say this to a friend? If not, I try to change the way I speak to myself.
Example. Instead of I'm so stupid, say, that was a mistake, but I can learn from it. That tiny change rewires your brain over time. Let's talk about anchors. Things you can return to when you feel like you're losing your positivity.
An anchor could be a quote you love, a picture of someone you admire, a journal entry from a good day, or even a favorite song.
It could also be your reason why. Why are you learning this skill? Why are you trying to change? Go back to that.
For me, it's this quote, you didn't come this far just to come this far.
Mine is, this feeling is temporary. Growth is permanent.
Whatever your anchor is, keep it close. You'll need it on hard days.
Gratitude is a huge part of positive thinking. When you focus on what you have, your brain starts to feel abundance instead of lack.
Even in hard times, there's always something to be thankful for. Your breath, a meal, a friend, a memory.
The more you practice gratitude, the more your brain becomes trained to look for the good.
And that doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means you don't let problems blind you to the good that still exists.
One mindset killer we haven't talked about yet is comparison.
Oh yeah, scrolling through social media and thinking, everyone else is more successful, more beautiful, more talented.
Comparison creates jealousy, self-doubt, and shame. Positive thinking helps you catch those thoughts and change them.
Like when you see someone doing well, instead of saying, I'll never be that good, say, they're showing me what's possible. If they can do it, maybe I can too.
Turn comparison into inspiration, not self-hate.
Here's something powerful. You become what you repeat.
If you repeat doubt, fear, and complaining, you become stuck. But if you repeat hope, effort, and gratitude, you become unstoppable.
The person you are right now is the result of your past thoughts and actions. The person you will become depends on what you repeat starting today.
You don't need to be perfect. You just need to repeat the right things more often than the wrong ones.
Let's end this part with some quick tools our listeners can use right now.
Mirror talk. Every morning, look in the mirror and say one kind thing to yourself. Gratitude list. Write 3 things you're thankful for every night. Mind reset timer. Set a timer every 3 hours. When it goes off, pause and ask, what am I thinking right now? Is it helpful? Vision board. Print or draw images of your dreams and goals. Look at it daily. Mindful breathing. When overwhelmed, close your eyes and take 3 slow breaths. Repeat a calming phrase like, I am okay.
Try 1 or 2 this week. Small actions lead to big change.
In this episode, we learned that positive thinking is not just about being happy. It's about how you view purpose, goals, pain, failure, and comparison.
And how you talk to yourself. How you show up even when things get hard. How you choose belief when fear feels stronger. Your mindset is your greatest asset. You carry it into every part of your life. And the best part? You get to shape it. Day by day. Word by word. Thought by thought.
We'll be back in part 4 with our final deep dive. We'll talk about how to maintain your positivity long-term, help others grow, and use mindset to live a life that feels true to you.
Stay kind to yourself. You're doing amazing.
See you in the last part.
Welcome to the final part of the power of positive thinking. So far, we've talked about mindset, emotions, failure, gratitude, comparison, and purpose.
And we will be closing it with something powerful: how to maintain your positive mindset over the long term, how to help others grow positively, and how to build a life that feels real, meaningful, and fulfilling.
Positivity isn't something you practice once and master forever. It's a daily choice, like brushing your teeth or exercising.
But the more consistent you are, the easier it becomes. It's like building muscle. At first, it's hard, but then you start enjoying the process.
One of the best long-term strategies is routine. Build your day around tiny positive rituals, morning gratitude, short meditation, or even 5 minutes of silence.
And don't wait for motivation to start. Do it even when you don't feel like it. That's discipline. That's self-love.
We also need to talk about a danger that's often misunderstood: toxic positivity.
Yeah. That's when you force yourself to pretend you're happy all the time, even when you're hurting. It's when people say things like just smile or be grateful to avoid dealing with real pain.
True positivity makes space for sadness, anger, grief. It doesn't suppress them. It supports you through them.
Real strength is saying, I'm not okay right now, but I believe I will be.
One of the biggest influences on your mindset is your circle. Who you spend time with matters.
If you're surrounded by people who complain, gossip, and always expect the worst, it's hard to grow.
But if your circle includes people who believe in solutions, who support your goals, who cheer for you, that changes everything.
Sometimes the most powerful act of self-growth is changing who you spend your time with.
Or even just spending more time alone with empowering books, podcasts, or mentors online.
Positivity isn't just personal. It's powerful leadership.
When you walk into a room and bring calm, kindness, and hope, you change the whole energy.
People notice. They feel safe around you. They feel stronger because of your presence.
That doesn't mean being perfect. It means choosing love over fear, even in small moments.
Leadership through positivity can happen anywhere. In families, in schools, at work, or even online.
Let's be honest. No one stays positive all the time. You're going to have bad days. That's life.
What matters most is how you respond. Don't shame yourself. Don't spiral.
Just catch it, pause, reflect, ask, what triggered this, and then realign.
Use affirmations. Go for a walk. Journal. Talk to someone safe. You can come back to center.
Slipping is normal. What matters is choosing to stand up again.
Here's something that blows my mind. Your thoughts don't just shape your life, they shape your legacy.
Years from now, people will remember how you made them feel. Did you lift them up or bring them down?
Positive thinkers leave a ripple effect. A kind word, a brave act, a loving presence. These things echo.
And it starts now, with how you speak, how you treat people, how you carry yourself even when no one's watching.
The smallest act of kindness today can inspire someone tomorrow.
So many people wait to feel ready before they start living. But perfection is an illusion. It keeps you stuck.
Choose meaning instead. Do things that matter, even if they're messy.
Start that blog. Speak in that meeting. Tell someone you love them. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to be real.
Positivity doesn't mean always smiling. It means always trying to see what's still possible.
Positive thinking is also about believing in what you can't see yet. Like a farmer planting seeds, you can't see growth right away, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening.
Every time you choose a better thought, a kind action, a bold step, you're planting something.
Trust the invisible. Trust that your future is growing, even if it looks slow right now.
Once you grow in your own mindset, you'll find yourself wanting to help others too.
But remember, helping others isn't about fixing them. It's about being with them, listening, encouraging.
You can be the person who says, "I believe in you," and that sentence might change someone's life.
Or just sitting with someone who's struggling and not trying to force them to feel better. That's love too.
Imagine if every person on this planet started their day by asking, "What's good in my life?" or told themselves, "I'm enough today."
Imagine the kindness, the creativity, the courage that would spread.
Positive thinking isn't some personal luxury. It's a form of global healing.
You doing the inner work is one of the most generous things you can do for the world.
So before we wrap up, here are some questions for you to reflect on. What's one negative belief I'm ready to let go of? What's one positive truth I want to start repeating daily? Who lifts me up, and how can I spend more time around them? How can I help one person feel more hopeful today?
These aren't just questions, they're tools. Use them, answer them, return to them.
If there's one thing we want you to remember from this whole series, it's this. Your mind is your home. Make it a place you want to live in.
You don't need to be loud, famous, or perfect to change your life. You just need to think better thoughts, take braver steps, and love yourself through every moment. Stay gentle, stay curious, stay hopeful. You've already begun. You're already growing. And your best days? Still ahead.
Thanks for listening. We're proud of you.
Until next time, keep choosing the light.
Thanks for watching Dive English Zone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, drop a comment below, and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons. See you in the next one.